This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. We discuss everything there is to know in the world of sports. As always, I am Ben.
And I'm Alex.
And we are here starting our Thursday episode just right before the weekend. You got any weekend plans?
Yeah, I'm house sitting for a friend in San Francisco.
Again?
Yeah.
Doing a lot of house sitting recently.
Yeah, but this one's in San Francisco.
That's always interesting. I've never lived in San Francisco, so I would imagine
Same.
it'd be pretty compact. You know,
It is.
kind of tough.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to live in
Seems
San
like a
Francisco.
city that would always be lively, even at the night.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I visited a lot in the last
Right.
year and a half. You know.
Right.
I don't know if I could probably live there, maybe not in the city, but, kind of outside the city. I don't know. It depends, really. I don't know where I'm going to live.
Yeah, we haven't really found out exactly where either of us are going to be stationed through our lives. We're still young. We're still new into this whole thing called life.
Yeah, you're still my cinnamon apple.
Well, I appreciate you telling me that.
You're welcome.
I mean, that means
That means a lot to you?
it means everything to me.
Okay,
Not a lot, but everything.
Okay. Well, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to start with some weird news.
Definitely interesting, I'll say.
Yeah, about Olympic U.S. swimmer Ryan Lochte. Weird. And then we're going to talk about some more Olympics. We're going to give you a men's basketball update following their game against Argentina yesterday, and we're going to talk about the up-to-date medal count as well. And then to end the show, we're going to preview some Week 2 NFL Preseason action in some games that Ben and I would say more so me, are looking forward to, since Ben's not really a preseason fan. But
The only games I really, really pay attention to in the NFL preseason is Week 3, because that's when you have most of your starters playing, at least a quarter, maybe a half. That's when it gets really, really serious, is Week 3. So you get a good idea of a lot. But there's still a lot of compelling stories we can look at for Week 2. So,
oh, yes.
I mean, we'll obviously jump into that in the third segment. So
I'm very excited. Okay, but let's start with weird Ryan Lochte and his fabricated, apparently now, story. The news came out, I think I saw it first yesterday.
You're talking about of his quote-unquote robbery? I heard about that on Sunday.
Okay, so it's been a while. Okay, so Brazilian police were told that Lochte and two other teammates, Jack Conger and Gunnar Bentz, were robbed at gunpoint on Sunday, early Sunday morning at a gas station. It said around 6 a.m. Sunday morning. That has since been at least somewhat proven to be false, I guess.
Yeah, they did. Basically, they did like an investigation into what Lochte and the United States swimmers were saying, and the police found basically little to no evidence about what they were saying. And there was also inconsistencies in their story. And then Lochte had said that he was robbed at gunpoint. The forehead was pointed right at his head. And then, a couple days later, he did an interview with NBC. And he said, the gun was pointed in my direction. Mm-hmm. So he totally had two different stories there. So there's definitely a lot that's there's a lot of pieces that aren't filled in. There's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that are still left to be placed.
Well, you see.
And now we have even more stuff coming out even this morning.
It's helping to fill some puzzles.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Well, the officials, Brazilian police officials, have said that Ryan Lochte fabricated his story of being robbed at gunpoint, and they pulled off his teammates Jack Conger and Gunnar Bentz off the plane they were boarding yesterday to go to the United States, and they told the police that the robbery story was fabricated. So pretty much they said around 6 a.m. Sunday, Lochte, along with his two teammates, and Jimmy Fegan stopped at the gas station in Barra de Tijuca. It's a suburb of Rio where many Olympic venues are located. One of the swimmers tried to open the door of an outside bathroom, but it was locked. So a few of the swimmers then pushed on the door and broke it. Sounds like they were drunk, probably.
There's got to be something involved because they wouldn't be this stupid just to
Exactly, yeah.
A
security guard appeared and confronted them. The official said the guard was armed with a pistol, but he never took it out or pointed at them. According to the official, the gas station manager then arrived using a customer to translate. The manager asked the swimmers to pay for the broken door. After discussion, they paid him an unknown amount of money and left.
Yeah, and a Brazilian judge, once they sort of brought up the story that they were quote-unquote robbed, they ordered everyone to stay in Brazil. They ordered to not let their passports, go out and let them go back to the States. But Lochte had already left for the United States. Mm-hmm. So he decided to bolt a little early. So he's already in the United States. So he left his boys out there in Rio to kind of have to deal with everything, And he was the one who really came forward about this whole incident. He was the one who really spoke about it. So he kind of gave them the cold shoulder, turned the other way, and was like, "Oh, I'm getting out of here." That's kind of screwed up.
Yeah, and then the International Olympic Committee spokesperson Mario Andrada commented before the news today that the robbery did not happen came out, and he was quoted kind of interestingly saying, "We have to understand that these kids came here to have fun. Let's give these kids a break. Sometimes you make decisions you later regret. They had fun. They made a mistake. Life goes on." Again, those were made before the robbery was found out to not be.
But I mean, these guys aren't even kids. Like Ryan Lochte's not a kid.
Yeah, he's like 29.
No, he's not. It's not like he's 19 years old, like Katie Ledecky or like Simone Biles, where they just really haven't even grown up or matured or anything. Lochte's not a kid. What I want to know is what's the motive of this? Like, what are you trying to accomplish here? What are you trying to prove?
Yeah, it just sounds like maybe they were drunk and they were doing this, and I don't know what the advantage of claiming you were robbed was. But...
Yeah, I just don't understand. And then earlier, I just saw that basically the gas station manager for here was like, they basically like trashed the bathroom. Like there was urine all over the toilet, and then he goes, "Well, what do you expect from a swimmer?" He's like usually just goes in the pool. You know what I mean? So he's like not controlling, and it's like. Like I said, what I want to know is what's the motive behind this? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? If anything, all you did was just literally disgrace yourself, and really your teammates, and honestly your nation. Because what's going on? Like, I don't get what your motive here is. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Trying to say like, oh, Rio's like a terrible, terrible place, and like make up a story. There was reports that a British athlete did get robbed last night, and that seemed like it's pretty real. It's obviously not fabricated. Like the police have gone on to say this one is after, you mentioned Conger and the other ones did actually admit to it. So, I just don't understand the motive. Like I don't get what you're trying to do. And then you really you're the head of this whole thing. You're the head of the monster here, the head of the snake. And then you kind of like ran scared and left everyone out to dry while you're just back in the United States kind of just acting like it's no big deal.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't get what, like, you're kind of messed up for that.
Yeah, and so they also said that the swimmers said they had been intoxicated and could not remember what type of color of taxi they rode, where the incident happened, or what time the events occurred. And then police grew suspicious when they reviewed security video of the swimmers returning to the athletes' village and saw them wearing their watches still.
Right, like so. I saw that video too, and I talked to you about it earlier this morning. I said when I saw the video, supposedly the morning after they were robbed, they returned to the village, and they have to go through like a metal detector and everything, and like Lochte comes back with like his phone and his wallet. If he's getting robbed or allegedly robbed, they're gonna take that. And if you got a gun to your head, do you think he's gonna say, "Oh, I don't need your phone. Like I don't need that. I don't need your watch.
Thing, yeah.
I'll let you keep it." Like, come on. Like, you got to realize that, it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. You're not going to believe everything you say. There's video, there's investigations, and like what Lochte said could made sense. Like, honestly, you could have been robbed. You know what I mean? Like, I would not be surprised if that came out and happened. But like a high profile athlete like this, one of the most high profile United States athletes and swimmers, like, come on, dude. Do you really think Ryan Lochte is going to go out very often, especially in Brazil, without some sort of security or some sort of following with him?
They had people with him, but he doesn't have security with him or anything.
Right, but it's like...
They're just regular people in that instance.
I mean, come on. Like, what did you honestly try to accomplish here?
Don't know, man. Before we take our break here, I'll say that Lochte, they said when he still was claiming the robbery story, said we didn't tell any U.S. Olympic officials because we were afraid we'd get in trouble.
In trouble of what?
Well, you're in trouble now, man.
You know what I mean? You're in more trouble now than you would have ever been.
And that seemingly puts a weird end to his Olympics this year that started just as weird as they're not quite ending, but in a weird sense with all these different hair colors. And Ryan Lochte is quite the character. I am confused. The world is confused.
And, okay, so I guess I'm not necessarily going to compare this, but I know Ryan Lochte had like a reality show a while back.
I don't know.
And I even forget what it was called, but I remember watching one episode, and I was like, this guy seems kind of...
weird.
Sketchy. Like, he seemed like he would party all the time. He didn't seem like the most smart, like, the smartest guy out there.
People used to make fun of him for being stupid.
He seemed kind of like an idiot, you know what I mean? I don't, but, like, he seemed kind of... like sketchy and like not necessarily the smartest guy out there, not the brightest Crayola in the box, So, and then I was like, I can kind of see what this is now. He's not the smartest guy. Like I don't really get it. But but it is what it is. He's obviously there's going to be more to the story. We're going to come out and get things every day. I would say, new reports and new findings every day. I would think, and it's going to be all bad for this team and for Ryan Lochte in particular.
Yeah. And as always, we will keep you updated on that when the news comes out. But we'll take our first break and come back to medal updates and some news from yesterday's Olympic men's basketball United States win. So we'll be right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. So we're going to throw it over to Ben, and he's going to update us on the USA, overall medal count of the Olympics. The USA just happened to be in the lead. So, Ben, go ahead and fill us in.
Yeah, the United States really all Olympics has dominated, which we all really expect. They seem to always do good. More so in the Summer Olympics. The Winter Olympics, they usually come in and finish first place. But the summer, they really dominated, and there's obviously no question about it. This year in Rio, they are doing so as well. So total medals, United States is in first place with 94 total medals. Second place is Great Britain at 55. So that's almost about 40 medal difference, 39 to be particular. United States with 31 golds, 32 silvers, and 31 bronze. The next highest gold is Great Britain with 21. So definitely the United States are rolling along here in Rio.
Yeah, you could say that. And obviously the United States, not obviously, but also the United States lead, like you said, in every category, gold, silver, and bronze. It's just pretty impressive if you ask me, don't you say, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, sort of the Olympics have been kind of scrutinized because a lot of people feel like professional athletes should not be involved. Think of the team sports. Mm-hmm. A lot of like the basketball.
Okay, so basketball.
Yeah, basketball, for example, like professional athletes should necessarily not be involved. But at the same time, I mean, I can kind of get where they're coming from. It should be an amateur event. But at the same time, like, you're going to put your best people out there to represent your country. And in a way, you could say, like, all these athletes are professionals one way or another. Think about these swimmers. They're not amateur swimmers. They're professional swimmers. Obviously, there's not like, teams in the United States and everything. But they have, like, international competitions. They have world championships, for all these sports every single year. So in a way, they are professional athletes still. So, I mean, you can't really separate one from another, in my opinion. And it kind of just is what it is. So, I mean, I don't really have an issue with it. But the United States is really dominating. And one particular sport the United States dominated in was yesterday. The men's basketball in the quarterfinal game ended up beating Argentina 105-78. So they won by almost 30. They won by 27. Durant really played well. He had 27 points, led the United States. It's really their first game, we talked about in our last show, that in the last 3 games they haven't really done too well. Their first game they won pretty convincingly, and they won like they really should have been doing all Olympics.
Yeah. It was, they finally got that big win they were looking for. Kevin Durant played really well. DeMarcus Cousins played really well off the bench. So it was, they finally put together a full game that they haven't done for the last, I would say, 3, maybe 4 games now.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see, that was something people were saying, oh, man, is this a team that can actually lose? And I don't know if anybody ever thought that was realistic, you know what I mean? But, like those last 3 games were kind of close,
The last 3 games were really, really scary, I guess you could say, because we talked about on the show how they should be dominating. They have the 12 best players in the whole entire tournament. They should be blowing every team out. Yeah. And when I looked at the Argentina game, I didn't really see much of a threat. Obviously, Argentina is the last team to win a gold medal in men's basketball other than the United States, which they won in Greece in 2004. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they're not the same team that they were then. Manu Ginobili's 12 years older, Luis Scola, we talked about Andres Nocioni, all those players, and then after the game, Manu Ginobili actually retired from international play. So and then
he did.
And then France ended up playing Spain, and France really got blown out 92-67, and Tony Parker retired as well. So you see, not really surprised there. 2 guys that are definitely on the tail end of their career, had really good international success for their countries as well, and really just hanging in and calling it a quit after the Olympics here. There's really no surprise there. But now for the United States, so now they will move in to tomorrow's semifinal game. They will be playing Spain, who has been the runner-up, the silver medalist of the past 2 Olympics. Mm-hmm. So now we have the United States and Spain meeting in the semifinal to get to the gold medal game. So one of these 2 teams will not be obviously reaching that gold medal game that they have been for the past couple of Olympics. I'd say of anyone, Spain is still their most serious threat to the United States.
I mean, you look at every year. I mean, you look back at the last 2 Olympics, obviously. They're always the threat to the United States in terms of gold, They play them almost, like you said, in every final.
Right, and I mean, look at the team, you have people like Rudy Fernandez, Pau Gasol, Ricky Rubio. Spain is obviously a very good basketball franchise, or I should say a nation, and there's really no surprise that they're going to be there. And I think they're still that strongest threat, and they played well. They haven't lost a game all Olympics. So, I mean, I think this is United States' toughest threat. And if they play anyway like they did yesterday against Argentina, then I think they're going to be able to beat Spain probably pretty handily. The United States really moved the ball well yesterday. They were facing a deficit there early against Argentina, but then they had a huge, I think it was a 27-2 or 27-4 run to really capitalize on that, and then the floodgates really opened from there. So if they can play that way and sort of, hammer things down like they did against Argentina, I think they should be okay against Spain.
Yeah, I think they will be too. I think if yesterday's, I guess last night, but yesterday afternoon's game was any indication on how they're going to play this last stretch of games, I think they're in a good spot. They looked dominant through the beginning of the game was a little closer than one would want, but starting about in the second half and through the rest of the game, they really just pulled away. And it's really what you expect to see. Funny enough, out of men's basketball for the United States. So.
Yeah, and then on the other end of the bracket, in the other semifinal matchup, we're going to have Australia playing Serbia. So Australia beat Lithuania yesterday 90-64. For the Aussies, they really played well. Patty Mills was their leading scorer with 24 points. They have people like, Matthew Dellavedova. He just won the championship with the Cavaliers. Andrew Bogut. They're really a great nation. Obviously, they played the United States earlier in the Olympics. They had a lead at halftime. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, they could not get it done for the Australians, losing by 10 to the U.S., and they're going to be playing up against Serbia, who just beat Croatia yesterday as well, 86-83. So pretty close game there. Croatia really came back in the fourth quarter. They outscored them by 11 in that fourth quarter. They were down by 14 going into the quarter, so really made a strong run there in the fourth quarter. So they're going to be playing Serbia and Australia. I would say Australia should win that game. I think Australia will certainly be in the gold medal matchup against the winner of Spain and United States. Yeah. Obviously, you got to expect the United States to be there. They're gonna be tough though. So
Yeah,
and then in
me
that
too.
third game, the bronze game against who I think will probably be Serbia and the loser of Spain and United States. I think whoever loses that game between Spain and United States will definitely at least win the bronze. So.
Yeah, I want to say the United States are going to win that game. So I think that, of course, like you said, Spain will probably end up in the bronze match. I think Australia is playing really good basketball.
Yeah,
shot really be. Like
I say Spain and Australia have been the two best teams other than United States here.
Exactly.
And Alex, you're a Kings fan, so I have some good news for you.
What's up?
Although Croatia is out of the Olympics, your
He
boy
was great.
Bogdan Bogdanovic led Croatia with 28 points.
Yeah, he looked really good.
Definitely their best player, the leading scorer. So
he's not playing this year, unfortunately, but he'll be with the Kings next season, more than likely.
yes,
get a
so
bigger
definitely
contract.
good things to come if the Olympics are any indication.
Yeah, jinx. Okay, well, I'm psyched about that. I read that. I was really happy. Okay, hey, do you want to take our last break and then get into some football?
I guess we can. I know you're really excited to get into football. It's your favorite.
It's my favorite. You know me, man. You know that going back, 8 years now? You know it's my fave.
I do. And
Okay.
it's very dear and near to my heart as well.
I like it. All right, so we'll take our last break here, and Ben and I will be back to discuss some notable games, for me at least, heading into the Week 2 action of the NFL preseason. We'll be right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
And we are back here at the Golden State Media Concept Sports Podcast, rounding out our show alongside Alex. I am Ben, going to be talking NFL Preseason Week 2 getting kicked off tonight. Like how I did that?
I like it.
Like it.
I like it.
It's going to be starting today, and we have games on Friday, Saturday as well. So tonight we have games like the Packers and the Raiders, the Eagles and the Steelers. I know, Alex, I'm looking forward to that game.
Yep.
Cincinnati Bengals and the Detroit Lions, Falcons, Browns, Bears, Patriots, Minnesota Vikings, Seattle Seahawks. Those games are getting kicked off tonight. NFL Preseason Week 2, what are you most looking forward to?
Okay, so obviously I will put to bed first the Eagles-Steelers game. Obviously, I'm looking forward to that, but that's as a Steelers fan. So things I'm looking forward to as a football fan, I want to check out the Chicago and New England game. They had joint practices this week, and they were very chippy, apparently.
Yeah, there's definitely multiple scuffles.
Lots of scuffles going, so I'm interested to see how that goes. I'm also interested to see some more Jimmy G action, some Jimmy Garoppolo play, see how he developed from his first game to this next game, see how he continues that strain. Excuse me. Keanu Neal, first-round pick of the Falcons, makes his first start in the defense there, a revamped secondary that the Falcons are going for this year against RG3-led Browns. I'm interested to see how RG3 plays maybe a little bit longer than he did the first game, see if he can build on the production he had there. I'm interested in the Green Bay Oakland game as well. The Oakland Raiders looked very, very deep at every position last week against the Cardinals. George Atkinson, the third at running back, looked very good. He had a great burst. Matt McGloin looked good, threw some nice touchdown passes.
The Ginger Ninja.
Yeah, one to Clive Walford, one to Andre Holmes. It was a beautiful throw, beautiful catch. Toe tapper, very nice. And then the NFC division round rematch, which is of the Minnesota Vikings and Seattle Seahawks. I want to see some more of Trevon Boykin. He played relatively well the last game with Seattle. Did lead them to the game-ending touchdown and 2-point conversion for the win on 2 long passes he had there in that last drive. So he looked interesting for sure. And Minnesota, not really much to, in my eyes, I'm looking at in that game overall. Moving to Friday, what I'm most excited about on Friday, I would say, is 2 games. I'm looking forward to the Arizona and San Diego game, but my 2 games would be New York and Washington, the Jets versus the Redskins. That's because we're going to get our first sight of action of Christian Hackenberg, quarterback. He did not play week 1 for the Jets because I assume lack of reps, at the position throughout training camp at that time.
And obviously for the Jets, just getting Fitzpatrick back with the contract,
Exactly,
you'd want to get him more up to speed.
Yeah,
he's definitely a capable starter, but he's missed a lot of, the mini camps, a little bit of training camps. They want to get him more up to speed. He's going to be their starter if he's healthy.
Exactly, yeah. So I want to see some Hackenberg. And then moving to the Dallas-Miami game, I'm really interested to see some more Dak Prescott. He played really well on Saturday. Saturday, yeah. He played really well in that game. Really, really nice to see against the Rams. I want to see some more of him if he can, continue that success. I'd be really, really interested to see how that goes. And then moving, of course, to Saturday, there's no Sunday games. I'm looking forward to the Tennessee-Carolina game. I want to see some more of that running back depth there they had between Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray. They looked really good. I want to see some more from Cardell Jones in the Buffalo Giants game, Buffalo versus Giants at Buffalo. Cardell looked good. I want to see some more because it was a weird kind of look good. I don't know if you watched his highlights, but he threw some passes. He showed strong arm and some burst as a runner, but the passes I saw him throw a lot were two wide open guys, so I couldn't really get an idea. As opposed to when I watched, say, the Broncos game, and all three of those starters looked really accurate, really precise. Trevor Siemian had his first throw was a beautiful slant, just bullet. Same with Paxton Lynch, had a beautiful looking arm. So in that sense, a little different of a game I want to see from Cardell. I want to see some more of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They looked really deep throughout their game as well.
Yeah, their starters, especially on the offense and defensive side, their first game they played the Jets, they looked really good. Yeah, that's the one thing I kind of look forward to in preseason is how the starters match up the first team against the first team for that at least couple series. Yeah. That really determines a lot for me to say, okay, these guys are ready. These guys can maybe make a jump up this year. Yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars are definitely a team I'm taking a look at this year. The Houston Texans, I want to see more of Brock Osweiler. He, along with the starting quarterback for the Niners last week on Sunday, did not look good at all. Both starters, Blaine Gabbert and him, they did not look good at all. I want to see more of him. They signed him to have that big arm, spread the field, and he constantly threw behind the sticks and, limited action, obviously, but didn't look great. Then, in a sense, moving to what my football co-host Jeremiah described as the game of the week if you look at quarterback battles, because you have arguably the worst quarterback battle compared to probably the quarterback battle in the best position. And I'll let you guess who is who, San Francisco and Denver. Denver, obviously, like I said, all three of their starters looked really good. Sanchez looked nice in the pocket. He had presence. Paxton Lynch had a great presence in the pocket, stepping up, running for a first down. He made really good throws. And then Trevor Siemian looked really good, too. He looked in command of the offense as well. And then you flip-flop to San Francisco. You have Blaine Gabbert obviously starting on Sunday. He did not look good at all. He had something like 62 yards passing. He was 4 of 10.
Yeah, and one of the throws happened to be 42 yards.
Yeah, it was a 40. I think it was a 42 or 43 yard touchdown to tight end Vance McDonald.
Yeah, so most of his yards came on one pass. Otherwise, he was inaccurate. He was throwing the ball on the ground. He did not look good at all. Their best quarterback through the air was Thad Lewis, and he tore his ACL. So they went and signed Christian Ponder. I don't know if he's going to be ready to play in this game.
I doubt it.
We'll have to see. I mean, you when you're in the league, as long as he's been in the league, you do have similarities through offenses that you can at least run a certain offense, because if he doesn't play, it's just going to be Gabbert and Jeff Driscoll. Are you really going to put your supposed starter out there that long?
Kaepernick still has the dead arm. Reports are that he's throwing really lightly, but he's not going to be ready to play.
No, he's throwing today in hopes he'll be prepared for next game.
So the third game.
Yeah, is what they said. Okay. So interesting to see how that goes. And then, of course, I want to see more Jared Goff. I want to see more Jared Goff. And Kansas City has former Rams quarterback Nick Foles, who I'm sure is going to get some time against his former team. So more Goff, some Nick Foles action. I'm excited for this week. Do you have any games you want to, that you want to talk about being excited for before we get going here?
Yeah, not something I'm excited for. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on the Raiders and Packers game. Make sure there's no injuries. Being a Packers fan, the only thing I'm really looking forward to, really seeing some more of Eddie Lacy. Looks a lot shiftier, a lot more explosive, quicker. Lost a lot of weight, doing a lot of P90X in the off season. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that.
No, so being a Steeler fan, Ben Brown. Ben Brown, Bell, and D'Angelo still aren't playing. They haven't played last game. They're not playing this game. They might play next game. But same thing. Rodgers hasn't played at all. Eddie Lacy played, I think, 2 series.
He had 4 carries for 24 yards. So
that's probably one
series.
A few
touches,
Yeah, I mean, he looked good, though. He looked like burst, like you said. What else you got? Anything else you're looking at?
One thing I'm kind of looking forward to is the Dolphins and the Dallas game on Friday. Reports are that Adam Gase, Dolphins head coach, said that Arian Foster would play. So you're going to see Foster's first time in a Dolphins uniform, anything other than a Texans uniform. I wouldn't expect him to get too much work. I'd say maybe a couple, 3, 4 carries, maybe a catch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect him to do much. He's had a lot of injury issues. They're going to want to ease him in. So don't want to get him injured in the preseason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I guess the really last thing I'm looking forward to is you mentioned the Niners and the Broncos. John Elway did say that they're not going to rush into picking a starting quarterback. So if they're not going to rush into picking a starting quarterback, what that tells me is that it is true a competition. So if it's a true competition, that would mean that Simeon should be starting, correct? Because if you're going to really compete about it, Sanchez started last week. He looked good.
Yeah.
But Simeon did not do anything to really hurt his case as well. So if it's going to be a true competition, that tells me that you would think Simeon will start week 2, and then week 3 is when you play a lot of your starters. So you have a pretty good idea of who you think is going to lead the team at that point, and then from there you go. But who knows what's going to happen?
Based off of, last game and then practice as well. I mean,
right.
It could be who's just, yes, you would think that would be the case, but it could also just be the fact that it's set up, that way in terms of the starter's going to be the one who's playing better, and maybe Sanchez is just having a better camp,
Yeah, well, we don't know because we're obviously not there. But if it's what John Elway says is that they're not going to rush into picking a starting quarterback, then it's going to be a true competition, and you'd have to give them each a fair share.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I see what you're saying, and I think I agree with you. I didn't think about it until now. Yeah, I think that Simeon should start. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously they did not name one, so we're not sure. But we'll obviously have to break that down when we talk about our shows next week, recapping week 2 of the preseason. And I'm sure we'll get a better idea because we'll see how each of them play. I'm sure they're going to get a lot of playing time. Mm-hmm. Paxton Lynch really is, I'd say, definitely that third guy in the depth chart unless you have an injury. So it's really down between Simeon and Sanchez.
He's still learning. He looked good, though. He really did. I was impressed by him a lot. I would say the rookie quarterbacks I was most impressed with would be Dak, obviously. I was very impressed with him, Paxton Lynch as well. And I liked Cardale Jones's play a bit, too, there. So definitely looking forward to it, man. Football's coming back, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, just a couple weeks away for you. Mm-hmm. And then college football starting up a couple weeks as well. Definitely looking forward to all that. So
it's college football, then NFL back-to-back.
Love our football here at the Sports Podcast.
All right, well, we got to go. We got to get going. So,
fortunately.
Fortunately. As always, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at GSMC_sports, as well as on Facebook at the GSMC Podcast Network, and the same handle on YouTube if you just put in the GSMC football, soccer, sports, or baseball. Ben and I do all of those, not always together, but he and I enjoy them all. You can go to gsmcpodcast.com, and that is our network. You can look at shows that are currently on air and coming soon. And, of course, you can find our shows streamed always on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play. Thank you always for listening. As always, I am Alex.
I'm Ben.
And we will see you guys on our next episode tomorrow.
Yes.
Have a good rest of your day.
And have a good weekend.